Okay, so have here a 2015 Kawasaki Ninja 300. Going to be installing a Yoshimura R77 slip-on carbon fiber exhaust. If you have a 2013 or 2014, it's the exact same thing. Just some tools you'll need before starting off. Obviously, you're going to need your exhaust, an 11 mil, 14 mil, 2 hex ratchet, little screwdriver, a little trim tool, 14 millimeter. I got 2 different Phillips heads, a drill. I did buy this exhaust used, so it is a little scratched up here and there, but put on the exhaust for the sound, not so much how it looks. Alright, so just getting started here. You're going to use your smaller Allen wrench. This size is a 4 millimeter. You're going to want to take off these 2 fasteners right here and right here. They're only held in by plastic. They're not really that tight. So once you got them off, you want to put them in a safe place. You don't lose them. They're really not that tight. You want to make sure that you have the washer. I'm just using my screwdriver here. I'm going to point. So there's 1 clip here and 1 clip under the bottom here. So to take them off, take your little screwdriver and you just want to pry it up like that. Once it's in the open position, if you have one of these, it's handy. If not, it doesn't really matter. And you just want to pull out like this, and then the clip just pops right out. So the clip looks something like this. Alright, it's just a little pressure clip. So we're going to do the same thing on the bottom. Just got to locate it here. Alright, so once you have those 2 removed, you're going to want to get your 3/16 or 4 millimeter. I believe it's 3/16. And you're going to loosen this last one here, which holds the lower fairing in place. Just going to get my drill here, speed things up. Once that's out, you want to remember to keep this metal retainer. And now, just a little wiggle here, a little wiggle right here, and this comes right off. Okay? The next thing you're going to want to do is to take this metal shielding off the exhaust pipe. It's just for aesthetics, really. So there's 1 bolt here, and there is underneath here, can't really see it, but there is a hose clamp. and take that bolt out, put it in a safe spot so you can use it if you ever choose to put your stock exhaust back on. Okay, so underneath this aesthetic shielding, you're going to find a hose clamp. It's tough to show you on camera, but it's there. Probably post a picture of it. What you're going to want to do, it's a 10mm hose clamp with an attachment for a Phillips head, but I find it's much easier to use a box end wrench to loosen it up. It's not too much room down here to get a screwdriver in there. So once you have it start to loosen up, this metal shield will come right off and out of the way, and allows you to access so there's a rubber grommet that holds this shield onto the exhaust pipe. So what you want to do is just slide downwards and it comes off just like that. So there is a hose, there's a clamp holding this stock pipe onto the bike. So you're going to want to use a 12mm to loosen up this clamp right here. So it's nice and loose. Next thing you're going to want to do is get your 14mm socket, as well as your 14mm box end wrench. And there is a nut on the back side here. You can see it right here. So you're going to put your box end wrench here, ratchet. It shouldn't be too tight, but you're going to want to crack it free. It's free, just take off the nut that's on the back. And there's your exhaust. So it's loosened right up. So you're going to want to save the nut and this, which we will reuse again. So get your exhaust off, just a little wiggle room. A little wiggling and it'll come right off. It's a stock exhaust, it's pretty heavy compared to the Yoshimura. Put this down over here. Remember that hose clamp, you want to remember to remove it. You won't be able to do so after you install this. What you're going to want to do, you're going to want to take the clamp that comes with the Yoshimura, put it onto the pipe here. And if you forget, you'll have to take it all apart again to redo it. So this is how this goes. So this sleeve that comes with your, it's a spacer that comes with your exhaust. The washer that comes with your bike, and this is the bolt that comes with the Yoshimura exhaust. You're going to reuse the nut that came stock with your bike. What you're going to do, slide your exhaust on, line up all of that. You're going to want to give it some pressure here so that the bolt comes through on the other side. You want to put your nut on. Once that's on, you want to adjust this so So it hangs there nicely. Now what you're going to want to do is tighten it up. So like for removal, you want to get your 14mm wrench, put it on the nut side, and you want to tighten this up. There are probably proper torque specs on here, and making a video like this would probably be best, you know, list the proper torque specs, but there's not much weight associated with this, so just want to make sure it's just nice and tight. You don't want to go crazy on it, you don't want to break it. Yeah, that right there, that's good enough. Okay, so going back to the clamp we put on earlier, you're going to take the clamp, you're going to position it so it will be right about here, and the nut for this is actually an 11mm, and you're going to want to begin to tighten it up. It's not 11, that's a 10, so we'll grab the 11. And I want to tighten this up. Again, there's probably a proper torque spec, but you know, tight is tight, right? Alright, so now this is nice and tight. So now what we're going to do, we're going to reinstall the lower fairing that goes on the bike here. You're going to want to save the nut, the bolt that was here with your stock exhaust and your hose clamp, just in case you ever decide to put your stock exhaust back on if you're selling the bike or whatever. So you're going to get your lower fairing and you're going to wiggle it into the tab here for the bolt. There's an opening here so it slips in. It's a little bit tricky, but once you get it on there, fall right into place. I'm going to install this with the metal collar back into here. Let me find the right size. There we go. I'm going to put one of the clips back in. So as you can see here, this will fit over like so, and below this will fit under like so. So you just push this back in and it's locked into place. Same with the bottom, and find the hole, and the hole, push, locked into place. Now for your two smaller washers and bolts, thread them into a hole by hand, or a plastic nut on the other side, so you don't have to worry too much about stripping it, but you know, best to start it off by hand. Alright, speed things up, I'm going to use my drill. Nice and slow. Yep. Finish it off. Use my wrench. Make sure nice and tight. You don't want your fairings flying off on the highway. So it's stuck a lot. And there you have it, the install of the Yoshimura carbon fiber slip-on exhaust for a 2013 to 2016 Ninja 300.